Georgie, what a nice boat. Do you want it back? Well, here we go, guys. This is my boy Pennywise. I got these two from Hot Topic when I got these at Hot Topic when I saw it Chapter 2 in theaters, but anyway, long days and pleasant nights, everybody. Today I'm going to do a dual review on It and It Chapter 2. Okay, let's get started, shall we? Alright, so I watched It on Wednesday, and this is probably about like my 5th or 6th time seeing it, and this is a really, really well done adaptation, way better than the 1990 miniseries. And you all know the story about this. It's about the Losers Club, and they square off against Pennywise the Dancing Clown, which is a cosmic being that has been underneath Derry for about 1,000,000 years or so, and they fight to save the town of Derry. And the clown preys on kids, and he will stop at nothing to ravage the world and get rid of kids. So the best part about the first chapter are definitely the kids. I mean, you cannot ask for better casting, and there's some pretty funny moments in here, and there's also some pretty horrifying, macabre stuff, and I really, really enjoyed this movie as much as I do the book, because it has so much going for the movie that is in the book. But there are some tone changes in here, because in the bathroom scene, when Beverly saw her vision of fear, you play like a Cure song, and the whole bathroom is filled with blood, and it's that's weird. But as you go throughout this whole movie, you also meet Henry Bowers, and this dude is crazy to a T. He is like so evil. He's even more evil than Pennywise, and that's saying a lot, because he is a high school bully, and we know that high school bullies can be nasty. But he just snaps one day, and one scene that really terrifies me in this movie is when he actually kills his dad. It's pretty terrifying, and you know that he's not going to snap out of it because he was in Pennywise's snare, and there's no going back for Henry Bowers, and he actually ends up being like one of the best Stephen King villains ever written. This dude is a pretty messed up kid. And if y'all have read It, which I'm pretty sure you have, you know that he's pretty messed up in the head in the book as well. I mean, if you saw my first video where I ranked the King books, It was my second favorite book. And I talked about Henry Bowers kidnapping Mike Hanlon's dog, and he fed him potato chips, and he either shot him or stabbed him. I don't remember, but anyway, Henry Bowers is a pretty messed up kid, and we know how the movie ends. You think that the Losers Club defeated It for the very first time, but I'm about ready to talk about It Chapter 2 in a couple minutes, so I really don't have much to say about the first It. We know what happens, and there is a emotional ending with Bill's arc because he sees Georgie, and it's almost kind of like his true form, like what happened to him, and it's a pretty sad ending for Bill. But my favorite characters would definitely be Pennywise, of course, Bill, Ben, Richie, Eddie, and Henry. Those are probably like one of my all-time favorite Stephen King characters ever put to page. So I'm going to wrap up my It review here, and I've always loved this movie, and it's one of my all-time favorite Stephen King adaptations, but it's easily in my top 10, and I'm going to give the first chapter for It, I'm going to give this an A. And, oh yeah, by the way, this is my old set. I usually film reviews in here. So, anyway, that's why I borrowed it in my room. But, anyway, I'm going to give It an A. Very, very well done remake. Alright, that's my review on It. Up next. For 27 years I've craved you, and I've missed you. It Chapter 2. Alright, as I said in my very, very bad Pennywise impersonation, it's 27 years later, and we revisit the Losers Club as adults, and they have no memory of what occurred 27 years ago. We see Bill as a horror novelist and a struggling screenwriter on the set of his new movie, and there are some pretty big Stephen King references in here because everybody says that they hate the endings, and I'll get into this later, but anyway, so this first opens up with Bill and how he is an adult, and then we move on to, I think it's either Richie or Eddie, but anyway, Richie is a stand-up comedian, and he gets the phone call from Mike, and you see him like blowing chunks on top of a balcony, and Eddie is an insurance risk analyst, and he crashes while in traffic. It's a pretty funny scene. So yeah, those are Richie and Eddie's characters. We meet Ben. He is an architect, and he also gets the call from Mike. Also, there is Beverly. She is in an abusive relationship. Also gets the call from Mike. You see where I'm going here? And then we have Stanley, who also gives the call from Mike. And spoiler alert, but I'm pretty sure that everybody has read the novel and seen the movies thus far. We know that Stanley is, I don't want to necessarily say a throwaway character, but he is treated like it. Well, he's so distraught by Mike's call, he goes upstairs and slits his wrist in a bathtub, and it's a pretty gruesome death. So Stanley is out of the picture, and you have you literally have a character arc between all the losers, and they miss Stan, and they just reminisce on childhood, and yeah, there is a very, very small scene in the book that I was very glad that they incorporated into the movie. In the very beginning, we meet Adrian Mellon, which is a gay man who is bullied by the town's rednecks, and they beat him up pretty gruesomely. And then they throw him into a river, and then we meet Pennywise. So, I don't have much else to say about this movie, but there are some Stephen King references in here that are very apparent when Bill is on his walking tour, which I'll get to in a minute. He sees Silver, and we meet the King of Horror himself. He is in the pawn shop, and yeah, it's a pretty funny scene where he guesses what he wants and as items that start with B, because Bill had like a stuttering problem, and he finally just gives him the bike for $300, and then he tries to take off, but it's a pretty clumsy bike because it's an old bike. I mean, this is 27 years later, but anyway, I really enjoy that scene. And then another Stephen King reference happens near the end of the movie, and this is a very, very long movie, by the way. This is 2 hours and 49 minutes, which translates to 169 minutes. Yeah. But anyway, this is Beverly's vision of fear, and she sees Greta, her dad, and Henry Bowers in the bathroom stall, and it starts filling up with blood, and then there is a very tiny tidbit where Henry Bowers says, "Here's Johnny." That put a smile right to my face, and yeah, let's get into I believe the weakest part of this movie, but this is still a solid adaptation. The weakest part to me about this movie is the walking tours and how they reminisce about childhood and their missed summer. This is like an hour of filler, and you have everybody like go to their memories and try to grab their tokens to participate in the ritual of Chud. And it's like they go to their memories, they see disturbing stuff, and then Pennywise shows up. This literally happens about like 4 or 5 times straight. It's kind of like we know what's going to happen, so let's move on to the movie. But anyway, I felt that to be like probably needed to be shortened down a little bit, but we wait almost 2.5 hours to see Pennywise's true form, and Pennywise is a spider. Now, I will say this, in the It miniseries, it looked more like a spider, but it looked also paper mache-like. And it looked pretty bad and pretty dated, but in this one, he looks even sillier because it's just, he almost kind of reminds me of like a centaur as a spider, because it's his body, then the spider body, but yeah, it looks very goofy, but we know Stephen King likes to write a lot of goofy stuff, and I really enjoyed the climax to this movie as well, and we know that Eddie succumbs to Pennywise's doom, he gets impaled by one of his legs, and it's pretty emotional way to send off a character. And we also realized that Richie might have had a thing for Eddie, because at the very end of the movie he carves into the bridge where Henry Bowers attacked Ben for the first time, and he inscribes R and E, and you have like a full circle closed. And I think the ending to this particular movie is better than the miniseries and even the book, because it's a lot less cheesy. If you know the ending to the book and the miniseries, Bill's wife is saved, and they just ride down the street on silver, and you got none of that in this movie, and it was all the better for it, because I found that ending to be a little bit cheesy, and this ending to be a lot better. So here is my final review for It Chapter 2. I saw this 3 times thus far, and I think I'm going to give It Chapter 2 a B+. Now, it's still good, but I definitely prefer the first It over this one, so that pretty much sums up my dual review on the It movies. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this other extended video. I like to talk a lot, as y'all can see, so yeah. My next video will most likely be uploaded on Wednesday, because Monday is Memorial Day and I kind of want to spend it with family. But I plan to have my top 10 books I want to read in the near future by Stephen King, and I'll be back down on my Stephen King set, so look out for that video. And a little tidbit for these movie adaptation reviews, I'm going to do them every other week. So my next review will be, my next review will be The Mist. So look out for that review, and the first Friday of June. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this video, and hope you all enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. And I'm not really sure what video I'm going to film next Friday, but I just want to have a little bit more time reviewing some of these movie adaptations, so I'll send myself off and hope you all have a great Memorial Day weekend, and stay scared, and y'all better keep watching them Stephen King adaptations. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.